So here are 5 ways to use WordPress gradients. Roll VT. So my first gradient is going to be a very simple lighting effect. So I'm going to add a group, and then within that group I'm going to add a stack. And I want some padding around all of this. So with my stack selected, I go to my settings, styles, dimensions, and ensure that I've got some padding top and bottom and left and right. Now I'm going to need some text. So the first thing I'm going to add is a heading. So I'm going to add a heading block, and this heading block is just going to say lighting effect. And now I need some Greek text, so I'm going to add in some good old faithful lorem ipsum. And then from my list view, ensuring my stack selected, I want to go to my settings, styles, background, and select gradient. And my first color point is going to be white, and this is going to be my point of light. And my second color point is going to be a very pale gray. And there you have it. You have a very subtle lighting effect. Now if you want to change the angle of the point of light, you just go back to your settings, styles, background, select your gradient, and just change the angle. And there you have it, a very subtle lighting effect. My next effect is going to be like a photographic effect, a bit like the effects you see on Instagram. So I'm going to add a group, and then in that group I'm going to add a cover, and this is going to hold my image. So I need to go to my media library and add a nice image. Now from my list view, ensuring I've got my cover selected, I'm going to go to my settings, and styles, and select overlay, and I want to set this to gradient. Set the type to radial, and the first color point needs to be set to an opacity of 0, and this is going to be the center of your image. So the outer part of your image needs to be set quite dark. So this is going to be the burnt outer edges. So make this quite orangey, dark, burnt color. To ensure my burnt effect is pushed to the edge, I'm going to pull my first color point in to about 60%. And then I can play with my overlay opacity to intensify the effect. And there you have it, a burnt photo effect. And just because I can, I'm going to add 20 pixel radius to my whole cover block. My next gradient is going to be image framing. So I'm going to add a group, and then I'm going to add a columns block. And I'm going to add an image into there. So I'm going to go to my media, Openverse. I'm just going to find an image of a sun. Disable captions, and to give myself some breathing space, I'm going to go to my columns block, go to my settings, and then styles, and add some margin top and bottom. So for our framing effect, we need to select our column and then go to styles and then add some padding top and bottom, left and right. Then we're going to go to our background color and select a gradient. And I'm just going to select this gray. Now I'm going to change the angle to 180 degrees, and I'm going to set my first color point to white. And there you have our first effect. So I'm going to select my column and go to my options and duplicate. I'm just going to go to my styles, background, gradient, and I'm just going to change the angle to 0. And there we have another effect. So again, we can take this further. So I'm going to select my column, go to my options and duplicate. Then go to my settings, styles, background, and gradient. And I want to just copy this grey colour. So I'm going to copy that. And then I'm going to drag my first colour point in close to my grey. I'm going to add another colour point. I'm going to paste the colour I just copied. I want to add another point here, which is going to be white. I'm going to save that. And I want to change the angle of this to 45 degrees. And there you can see we've got another corner effect using gradients. So again, I want to take this further. So I'm going to copy this column. So duplicate and go to my settings, styles, background, and gradient. And this time I want to copy this color, and I'm going to add in a few more color points. So I'm going to paste this one in here, add another one, and another one, and one more. And now I'm going to alternate these colors. I'm going to change this one to white, but immediately you can start to see that we've got a mirror effect. So I change this one to white as well. And again, you can adjust these to make the effect more dramatic, but you can start to see how you can create a mirror-like chrome effect. And there you have 4 different effects using gradients to frame images. My next gradient is diagonal split colors. So I'm going to add a group, and then I'm going to go to my settings, style, and add some padding top and bottom just to give myself some space. Then I'm going to go to my background, and then I'm going to select my gradient. I'm just going to select this blue color. But the blue color points are too harsh. I'm going to just lighten up the first blue, and the second blue I'm going to make a lot paler and make it more cyany. So then I want to pull in my color points, and the idea is to get them as close together that they become less feathered and more hard edged. So if you get them as close as you can, eventually you get to a point where they butt together like that. So you get this nice hard edge. So now with the color background set, I just want to change the angle to 175. So now we need some text content. So first of all, I'm going to add in a stack block, and then I'm going to add a group block. And then within that, I'm going to add in a heading. And this is going to be my top panel. So I'm going to name this top. And then I'm going to paste in some good old Greek lorem ipsum. And now in my list view, I can go to my group and I can duplicate that. And this will be my bottom panel. So I'm going to change the title to bottom. And then I'm going to align that text to the right. So if you're not happy with the position of your split, no problem. You can just select your group, go to your styles, background, gradient. Then you can pick up these color points, pull them apart, and then just adjust them, get them to where you're happy, and then get that hard edge back and make sure you're happy with the positioning, and there you have it. So because of the color contrast, I just need to change my heading to text to white and my body text to white as well. So if you need to increase the space between your blocks, there's no problem. You can use padding or margins, but I'm going to use a special block here. So I'm going to go to my list view, go to my group, and isolate my first block of text, which is this group here. I'm going to go to my options, and I'm going to add after, and this will insert a block between my two blocks of text. I'm going to add a special block here called a spacer block, and this will allow me to set a height or a width, which will allow me to add space between my blocks. And there you have it. That's how you use gradients to diagonally split color panels. But there's no need to stop there. We can duplicate our whole block. So I go to my group and duplicate. And now we have a direct copy of our original block. Now I want to go to my stack. And rather than this be a stack, I want to convert that block to a row. And that will align everything left and right. And with my group selected, I can go to my styles and background gradient. And I can change the orientation to 90 degrees. And there we have a horizontal version. And if you need to create more space between your two blocks, that's no problem. You can pick up your spacer and go to your settings and style and just increase the width. I'm going to set 200, and there you have it. There's two options to use gradients to diagonally split color panels. For my next gradient, I saw this tweet from Jamie Marsden of Poodle Press, and he asked if we could work out how this technique was created using core blocks. So I reached out to him and asked if I could use this as a case study. He gave me the thumbs up, so here we go. So first of all, I'm going to add a group block, and this will keep everything contained. And then within that group block, I want to add in a cover. I'm going to set that cover image to this umbrella, and then I want to set the alignment to full width. So set my alignment, and then I can go to my settings and my styles, and I want to set the overlay opacity to 100%, and I'm going to select the overlay and set that to gradient. So I'm going to use this orange gradient as my starting point, and I need to add in several color points here, roughly about 6 actually. So I'm just going to copy and paste this orange color to create my color points, and this is going to be the basis for my stripes. My final color I want to be black, and this is going to be my contrast color. So for my next two color points, I need to set the alpha transparency to 0. And by setting the alpha transparency to 0 will allow the underlying image to come through 100%. So moving along my color points, I need to introduce my contrast color, which in this case is black. So as we can see, we've got a yellow, transparency 0, and another black. Now I just need to adjust the position of my color points to reduce that soft gradient effect and bring in a harsh striped effect, like so. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust all of these color points until I generate the striped effect that I'm looking for. And now I need my text content. So I'm going to add a heading, which is going to be stripes, and then another heading, which I'm going to call with cover block, and add some Greek text. And then finally add a button. I'm just going to call this contact, and I'll go to my settings and change the background color of that to orange and set the text color to black. I just want to add some padding around that button. And because I don't like the default pill effect, I'm going to change the radius of that button to 5 pixels. And I'm just going to make some final adjustments to my headings, make that H2, change the text to orange. And there we have our final effect using a cover block and simple gradient overlays. And you can always go back into your settings and make any adjustments, changing the angle of the stripes or even change the position until you're happy with the desired effect. So that's 5 ways with WordPress gradients. If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments. And thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.